Oh wait, is it streaming? Yeah, okay. Hey everybody, and welcome to my kitchen. Um, so I was gonna cook some Cuban sandwich. Oh, let me change the title. I was gonna cook some Cuban sandwiches today, and I'll mute that also. Um, but unfortunately, I have had the flu this week, and I still feel like steamrolled ass. So today we're gonna go for some nice comfort food, and I'm gonna make a nice tuna noodle casserole again, which I know you've seen me make before. But oop, I can't even type today. But I bet you've never seen me make it with broccoli. So, you'll get to look forward to that. It's going to be a quick and simple cooking stream, but I still plan to have fun with it. I'm starting to feel a little bit better, so this is going to help us get some comfort food and get our strength back up. So let's tie our hair back and get going, shall we? Let's. Always tie your hair back and keep it out of the food. For those of you with shorter hair, wear a hairnet, a hat, something. Just don't get your hair in the food. Even if you guys have short hair, it's still gross. That said, let's get started. So first things first, we are going to get us a pot of water. And that's enough water. We'll turn that on. And to keep the pasta from sticking, we're going to put in a little bit of olive oil. And a little bit of salt. There we go. Now we'll just wait for that to get warm. In the meantime, we'll get us a bag of egg noodles. Always tasty. Get us some mozzarella cheese, also some Parmesan to grate in it. And I've got broccoli. Also, peas. It's not a tuna noodle casserole without peas. Let's see here. So while we wait for that to get going, let's go get the tuna because I want to show you guys something. Oh, wait. Wait. Pan. Can't be tuna noodle casserole without a pan. Now for the tuna itself, what I like is, and you can use any brand you want, but I get Chicken of the Sea because it's cheap and it's got a mermaid on it. What's not to like? But in this case, you'll notice that it is tuna in oil. And the reason I do that is because it has oil in it, and you need to throw oil in the casserole anyway. So instead of just throwing any random oil in it, you have a nice light oil that the tuna has been packed in, and thus the oil already has the flavor of the tuna, which is nice. So let's set this here. And last but not least, what am I forgetting? We've got the pan, and we don't even need to butter that because of the oil. So this is going to be a real simple recipe. Unfortunately, it's not going to be that entertaining, which I didn't really think through. Usually when I make tuna noodle casserole, I have other things going with it, and I hate to say it, but I just don't feel up to it today. So let's get going on opening the tuna, mixing everything together, and that way by the time the noodles are ready, we can bake this. And along the way, maybe we'll do some other culinary related stuff. I also have some Parmesan. You know what? We might make some little toaster some little toaster goodies today, just to keep you guys entertained while I do this. But Parmesan cheese is always nice. So let's go ahead and open and drain the peas. This has one of these stupid caps on the top of it, and I wish it didn't, because I hate these. I would much rather just put it on a can opener, because these things I always want to cut myself with. And I've done it before. There we go. It also makes it difficult to drain the peas because I like to push the lid down in them to do so. So all we do is, yeah, see, the peas can escape now that the lid's all curled and bent. So you have to be more careful draining the water off of them, which is not a great big deal, but still. Okay, that's it for draining the peas. Not a difficult endeavor, but they're so good. I love peas. Yeah. All right, so now that the peas are drained, we do need to open our tuna. Real high-tech stuff here, guys. I am going to reach over you guys and use the proper can. As I said before, you do want to leave the oil in the tuna and not drain it. I'm going to go ahead and take one can, let me show you here, and we're just going to go ahead and put it in our pan, because what I want is for the oil to get on the bottom of it. We're going to stir it up and mix everything together, but just letting it sit on the pan for a minute is going to really keep everything from sticking. Back when I used to have cats, they would have gone nuts. Not only when they heard the can opener, but when the scent of tuna hit the room. So there we go. We'll set that one aside for a minute. And let's go over and check out and see what our water's doing over here. Hey Shame, how's it going? Unfortunately, this is going to turn out to be a slightly less entertaining show than it usually is, because I'm only cooking one thing, and unfortunately, the majority of cooking it is watching water boil over here. So I'm trying to keep it mildly entertaining, and I might make some little toaster snackies just to kind of keep things from being boring. How you doing today? You up to anything good? I'll check on you in just a second here, but I do want to go over and see. Yes, we're starting to get little bubbles in the water, which means we can probably go ahead and dump in the pasta. Which means I'm going to need some scissors. And then while we do that, I'm going to show you guys how to chop up this broccoli real tiny and fine so that it mixes well and it's a lot of fun. Alright, I want about half of this pasta, so let me show you a little trick here. You see where it kind of sits in the bag, you grab it about halfway through and just pinch it off. And then as you upend the bag, you just squeeze real good, and it keeps the rest of it from coming out. Pretty neat, huh? So now I have exactly half a bag of pasta in my water there. And I can put this back in the cabinet for later. I'm also noticing as I do that, I had another half bag of pasta in there that I'd already done that with, so I probably should have used that one instead. But I'll eat them all, so no worries. Now that the pasta's in, and we probably ought to give it a stir to get it underneath. We are going to set about making this broccoli into something that will go nicely into the pan. And I want to show you guys something here real quick, because there's a lot of people who I think would like broccoli, except they think they don't. And if you want to introduce them to it in a way that will ease them into it, here, let me hit this with a little water real quick to wash it off. Always wash your broccoli. It's so good. I love broccoli. I especially love raw broccoli. Get it and get like real close to the tops and shave it off so that it comes off in almost all the little pills. So we're going to cut up the rest of the stalk and put it in too. But you notice how if you get it near the top, it just kind of falls apart into these tiny, teeny little pieces like this. Those are great because you can mix them evenly throughout casseroles or dips or sauces or things like that. And see, like, look, even that's great because they're there, but they're not intrusive or offensive. And even people that don't really, I don't like broccoli, they don't mind it because at that point it's more of a garnish or just a flavoring than it is a vegetable. And I find that a lot of people will accept it a little better that way. Now when you get like little parts like this, I mean, that's fine, but we're starting to get down to the stalk. So let me dump this into the pan, and then I'll show you what you do with that. Give me just a sec. And actually, let's go check on our water. Oh, good. It's starting to boil properly now. There we go. I'm also going to turn the oven on so that we have it ready to roll. I'm going to turn it on a little higher than I normally would so it heats up fast. I don't know if my oven actually works that way or not. I've never tried it. Now, I do love broccoli. You made a video finally. That's awesome, Shane. What'd you make a video of? We're going to just shave little bit bobs off of this. And depending on the shape of your broccoli, it might be a bit difficult. But you kind of tilt it and work with what you got until you get it down to the main stalk. And the best part is these little bits like this, they're good to eat by themselves. They're very sweet. But if you want them minced fine, you can do that too. I think I'm going to leave them a little more whole, just so they provide a nice, interesting crunch for me in my casserole. There we go. And when you get to these bigger bits, you can just kind of slice medallions off like this. These are nice for people that just like broccoli. You posted it in Movie Train. Well, I will make sure to go have a look at that as soon as I'm done streaming here. In the meanwhile, oh, that's too high. Let's go see what's going on with the noodles here. Now the noodles feel soft, so they're almost done. And what that means is that I need to go get a strainer, which I am realizing is dirty. Give me a sec. That's okay, we'll just hand wash it real quick. Well, I say real quick, but There we go. Very nice. Now, let's go check on this. Nope. Yeah, these noodles are almost soft enough to work with. So what we're going to do now is dump our peas in here. I've never done this with broccoli and peas before, so I'm going to assume, and see, we're getting kind of full there, which is good, but I'm going to assume that we're going to need more cheese, and I tell you what else we might need is a bigger pan because of the added volume. So, if it starts to overflow this, I'll just get a bigger pan out from underneath the computer there, and we'll go from there. Yeah, these are about done. I'm just going to give them another minute because I want them nice and soft, because I do want them done before we start baking them. In the meantime, let's add about half our cheese to this. And I can actually start grating some mozzarella, this is mozzarella. Start grating some Parmesan into it. I love cheese. So yeah, here we go. This is starting to get a little skin on it, so we're just gonna shave that right off. Now, just grate our Parmesan right on in there. I'm one of those people when they say when, it's like, you know, you decide, because I'm never going to say when. There is no such thing as too much cheese. That said, that's actually probably good right there. And this is probably good to go. Yeah, this seems nice and soft. So we'll just turn that off, and I will go get some oven mitts. Okay. Come on. Unstick yourself. There we go. Now I need to get my water here good and hot because I want to rinse this out, but this is a cast iron pan with an enamel coating. And if you put cold water in it too fast after it's been hot, it can crack the coating. So I like to get some good hot water going and then try to put some water in it. Yeah, just so that we don't accidentally crack the coating in our nice pan. There we are. So now we've got our pasta. Give it a little shimmy to get all the water out of it. There we go. There we almost go. Yeah, that is awfully full. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. Now I think we can deal with this, although it probably, oh, we've got one more can of tuna. I forgot about that. Let me to get the remainder of the tuna out. Now here's the thing. The pan is just big enough to handle this. But it's going to be a pain in the tail to stir. So I might just transfer it to another one anyway, just to be on the safe side. Or better yet, got an idea. A little ingenuity here. Transfer to a large bowl. Come on out, just for a minute. Transfer to large bowl. Toss to mix. Wipe down the edge of the bowl because you don't want tuna juice all over it. There we go. This pan really is a little too small for this amount of food, but I'm not going to complain too loudly. It's going to be fine. Besides, it's not any fun if it's not a challenge, right? Okie dokie. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be great. All right. Put more cheese on the top, because that's what we do. And I'll show you guys this in just a second. All proper like. Kind of give it a squish down. Just to kind of give it a casserole consistency. All right. I actually had another bag of cheese in case I needed one, but I don't think I'm going to. Let me throw this away and wash my hands, and I'll be right back. Sorry, all the ingredients to this are so good that I'm probably going to nibble them on down before I can even make a casserole. Now, so I was going to show you how to cover this in aluminum foil, but so necessity being the mother of invention, I'm going to show you guys how to deal with this. Yeah. Okay. Wait, actually, this is the wrong one. Give me a second. I'll be right back. This ain't good. It must be nice to be tall. Okay. We're going to take a pan and just set it on the top of it, and then stick it in the oven. Let me get this back. Longs here. Fast. There we go. Technical difficulties. Hold, please. Okie dokie. That in the oven. Turn it down to 310. Yay, we set our timer. We'll check on that in about 12 minutes. In the meanwhile, let's clean up, and then I'll see about making you guys some like little toaster goodies or something. First things first, we put our cheese away. Then we eat that juicy little bit of tuna, because why not? And some broccoli. Go throw this away. And these. Put these to the side. And that should do it. And I could probably also turn on a light in here, eh? There we go. Hi, everybody. So yeah, what can we do? Tell you what I've got. I have got some rye bread, which I need to use. And what kind of fruits or vegetables or herbs or spices or that do I have? I know exactly what we're going to do. Okay. So here's some butter. And I'm going to go get us some rye bread real quick. And I'll set this aside. Some butter and some rye bread. And what I am going to do is gently toast this. Now, normally I would toast this in the toaster oven, but that is not in any way, shape, or form entertaining for you guys, because my toaster is over there. And besides, you'd just be watching it go, and you know. So what we're going to do is we are going to toast this bread the same way that you toast a bun. And you know how, like, when you get a burger at a restaurant, the bun's all toasty and buttery and wonderful and has that crispy caramelization around the edges? Well, what they do is they lather it with butter and they stick it on the grill or the griddle, and that's how they come up with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to toast this just that exact same way. And for that, I'm going to need a pan. And I'm also going to need to move this out of my way, making sure that it's not too hot to do so. Yeah. There we go. Get that out of the way. The method by which we do this, and sorry for the mess, there's still broccoli everywhere. The method by which we do this is we get a little shave of butter, and we're going to stick it on our bread. Do the same with both of them. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise, guys. Okay. So now come over here with me real quick. We're going to get our pan good and hot. You do this when you're camping. You can pan toast bread, and it's actually a good way to do it. And if you put butter on it, it's really tasty. It's not as healthy as if you do it without, but it tastes good. And in addition to the butter, you can also add a little sprinkle of salt, which we're going to here, because it's going to offset the herbs and the cheese and the other thing I put on the bread when we're done here. Hold, please. Let's see. Okay. It will not take very long on here. So I'm going to go put this down while we wait. And I'm going to get what else we're going to need for this. There we go.
Flip it over. Probably should have waited. You can see where it's still a little shiny. That means the butter's still liquid. And unfortunately, that means that it might be a little greasy if I didn't let it cook enough. So we'll flip it over and let it finish on that side real well and get toasty. I don't want it too hard either, because hard bread's no good. I also see where there's a little piece of the butter wrapping in there. We can't have that. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Bread in a pan, guys. High-tech stuff. It gets better, I promise. And it's starting to smell really good. You can smell the rye bread. I might add you can also do this with garlic butter and other herbs and spices in your butter. We're going to add the stuff afterwards as we make little nibblies. But if you're doing this in toaster, you could also brush it with olive oil and sprinkle some basil and tomato and cover it with cheese and make pizza bread. In this case, I am just going to go with a little sprinkling of basil and some sheep's milk cheese, which will be great. There we go. See, it's starting to get toasty and delicious looking. That's about what we want from it. So I'm going to give it a poke and see. Yeah, it's starting to stiffen up nicely. And I don't want it too hard because that's no fun. So we get us a plate. We're going to stick this here. And if you all have been watching me any amount of time, you know that I like to clean out my pan while it's still hot to keep things from sticking to it. Always makes life so much easier. You just have to be careful not to burn yourself. You can hear that? You can hear the washcloth sizzling on the pan. And that means you don't want to touch it with your fingers. We could probably also take a peek in at our casserole because it's probably getting close to being finished. Let's take a look. Not yet. So in the meantime, let's make our little toasty goodies. So what we're going to do with each of these is to quarter them. And we're going to make them into hors d'oeuvres. Unfortunately, that's not quite as toasty as it should be for true hors d'oeuvres, but I didn't want them that way. Tonight, I'm kind of making comfort food, and for me, comfort food is a little bit softer. But if you're trying to do a crostini sort of thing, then you will want to make them a little firmer. In this case, they're already buttered up nicely, and so we have a delicate sheep's milk cheese, and we're just going to put a little bit on each one. And you could sprinkle some olive oil, and you could do some little bits of tomato, which I don't have at the moment, and you could do any kind of cheese you want, and you could sprinkle garlic or onion or maybe a nice chervil, which I also don't have and I regret. And pretty much dress these up any way you want, and then you have little stacky snackies that you could pile up in a little pyramid and give to everybody. Also, you could kind of do a Worcestershire and black pepper sort of thing, and garlic, and make them into almost a crouton. But a small, edible, soft crouton that's just made to be eaten by itself. In this case, I think what I'm going to do, that is good cheese. I love sheep's milk cheese. It's wonderful. In fact, I'm wishing I'd put a lot more on there, but in this case, we're just going to sprinkle it with a little bit of basil and call it a day. There we go. Nice little basil and sheep's milk cheese hors d'oeuvres. And, you know, if you want, you can take them and arrange them in a nice little pinwheel pattern. Half will point one way and half will point the other, so, you know, you could probably do like all that point one way fanned one way, and all that point the other way fanned the other. Or if I'd been smart, I would have turned them around and made them all point the same way. But there you go. Little hors d'oeuvres with sheep's milk cheese, and they're wonderful. Oh my. Yeah, those are really good. That means it's time to check on our casserole and see what it's doing. And I think that is probably not done yet. But I want to pull this out of here and show you guys what this cookie sheet covering is doing. What it's doing is sticking to the cheese. But that's okay. We'll fix that in a second here. Oh, yes, and you can see it's not quite done yet. So what we're going to do is close our oven before we lose all our heat. We're going to scrape our noodles and cheese off of our cover here. Actually, you know what? We don't even have to do that. We're just going to stick our cover back exactly where it was. And we're going to shove this bad boy back in the oven for about, I guess, 5 to 10 minutes. This really could have used a little more cheese, but that's okay. Oop. I'm still going to enjoy it. But unfortunately, given the fact that our hors d'oeuvres are done, I don't have too much more to show you guys this evening. And while I'd really like to show you the finished casserole and cut into it, that's going to take a while, and I'm just going to chill out here. So if you guys want to chill with me, that's perfectly fine. Chat over there, talk to me, say hi, and in the meantime, I'll just clean up my kitchen while we wait for the casserole. Oh. As I said, I was going to make Cuban sandwiches. And I even pickled some turnips for the pickles for it last week. But, again, I have not been feeling well, and I just couldn't quite get into the mood for it. So tonight we're having comfort food. Go ahead and load up the dishwasher real quick. Speaking of loading a dishwasher, I'll give you guys some advice right now that will save your marriage. When you're loading a dishwasher, the water sprays from one particular area, usually the bottom, and it sprays up and outwards. Now, your dishwasher may vary, but if you have one of these dishwashers, what you must do is face all of your dishes towards the water so that when it sprays, it cleans them. That means glasses need to be turned upside down so they're face down and they don't gather water. All the plates need to be stacked so they face inwards And this is important if you have stuff on the top rack. Do not stick something big and huge on the bottom rack, lopped over sideways, so that all the water hits it and is shielded from getting up to the other stuff. If you have such a large item, put it off to one side in the back, and be sure, if it's a big pan like these, then I'm going to use the lid instead of the vine. Yeah. Ow, ow, hot, hot. Put it up like this and off to the side. Don't stick it down so that it's blocking all the water. It'll get clean if you face it towards the spray. And if you didn't know how to load a dishwasher before, you do now. And your husband or wife or spouse or significant other or girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever it is that's been giving you grief will no longer give you grief, because all the dishes will come out clean and spotless. Now, that said, I do have to load this thing up, so give me a second. And then we'll see how this casserole comes out. I have a sneaking suspicion it doesn't have enough cheese for my liking in it. And on the other hand, I eat too much cheese anyway. That said, the sheep's milk cheese is something else. It's wonderful. I picked that up at Jungle Jim's the other day. I was actually looking for a sheep's milk Gouda called Lamb Chopper that I like really well, and I couldn't find it, and I was still in the mood for a sheep's milk cheese, and I had a gift certificate, so I got this, and it is called Driftless, a fresh farmstead sheep's milk cheese. Our sheep graze seasonally in the heart of Coulee on the patchwork terrain of Wisconsin Driftless area. I didn't say that right. That said, it's good. So, try it. It looks like our timer's about to run out here real quick, so I will finish washing this up, and then we will get our casserole out. Again, I apologize if I'm not very entertaining tonight. I'm still under the weather, and not to be crude, but I still kind of feel like steamrolled ass. And there goes our timer. I'm going to finish washing out this sink, and then we'll pull our casserole out of oven. Alrighty. In the meantime, if you guys have done anything interesting today or have been up to anything fun, I'd sure like to hear about it over in the chat. So feel free to talk about whatever, and I will be happy to see what you've been doing here in just a second. Speaking of a second, give me one to rinse this out. I have a suspicion that I was a little timid about setting extra time on that, and another minute or two ain't gonna hurt it. There we go. Much better. A clean sink is a happy sink, and it just makes you want to cook. It also doesn't smell bad.
go check on this casserole. Let's have us a little squat down and see what we see. Smelling good. Let's just lift our lid and see. Okay. Fine, but I still think it could go a little bit longer. In which case, we're going to use a trick. I want the top of it a little more done, but I think what's inside is fine. So I could let it bake a little longer, or I could stick it on the broiler. And I don't think I'm going to do that, just because I want the inside done, because I've got that broccoli in it and I want it to cook up. And so, I guess we'll let it go for another 2 minutes. It won't be bad. Besides, if you guys have stuck with me this long, another 2 minutes ain't going to make much of a difference. And in the meantime, we can eat some of these sheep's milk cheese hors d'oeuvres. I guess I could turn the light on. It was lighter when I started. Yeah, that's cool. You guys can take a look at those while I clean up a little bit more. There we go. Take a knife and throw that in the dishwasher. That said, I really do want to show you guys how this casserole comes out. Oh, I've already got a dish pot in there. Well, then I don't need one. You know when people say I could eat it with a spoon, then they kind of mean it as a figure of speech. Well, I don't. I mean it. I could eat it with a spoon, and I'm going to. That is so good. It's kind of like a cross almost between a feta and either a cottage cheese or a ricotta in flavor. The flavor is somewhere between a feta and a cottage cheese. And the texture is like a feta, but a lot creamier. I've also managed to crack the container, so I'm going to stick it in a Ziploc bag so it doesn't get moldy. Of course, it'll probably be gone before that happens, but just in case. You don't take risks with something this tasty. You know what I'm probably going to do with the rest of this is maybe some manicotti. Ooh, that would be good. Stuff some manicotti shells with this and maybe some beef and mushrooms. Ooh, I think we've got our next cooking stream, guys. This is going to be great. In the meantime, let's check on our casserole and see what it's doing. There we go. Yep. There we are. Yeah, I just bet you we could get by with adding a little more cheese and sticking this in the oven without a covering on it. So let's do that and see what we get. Actually, you know, I think it's got enough cheese. Trying to be healthy, especially because I don't feel good. All right. There we go. Well, in the meantime,
on with the cleaning, I guess. I'm sorry this is such an uneventful show, guys. On the bright side, I guess you get to see what goes on after I usually stop streaming. And that would be that I get my kitchen spick and span again after I get done wrecking it. Of course, I can't wash the stove right now because it's blazing hot. And it doesn't do to get cleaners near food that you're about to pull out of the oven. That said, I'll probably pick this up in a bit with an actual video game. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, which I've started uploading all my stuff to, I don't really load my game streams onto YouTube because I usually use them as an excuse just to sit and chat with people while I play games. And they're not really made as entertainment streams, more for me just to kind of chill with friends. And so, that being said, they're not the sort of games that you'd go on YouTube to watch. I will say this. I know what I'm making for breakfast tomorrow. Those are good. Those are really good. So remember, marble rye bread, pan toast it with butter and salt, little sheep's milk cheese, little basil, you're done. It's wonderful. That's it, I guess. I should probably scrape the cheese off the bottom of this thing. Or just pull it off and eat it. I know I'm horrible, right? There we go. The dishwasher will take care of the rest of that. Oh, come on. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. We're having cooperation issues with the dishwasher. See, one of the racks in the dishwasher was the old dishwasher's rack, because it was much better than the new dishwasher's rack. We have a home warranty, and they're supposed to replace things that go bad, but unfortunately sometimes they cheap out, and instead of like paying $1,500 to replace the $1,500 dishwasher that broke, they'll pay like $300 to replace the $1,500 dishwasher that broke, and they'll send you out an eepy-cheepy model, which they did, and it was good for an eepy-cheepy model, but the racks were designed apparently by someone who has never seen the more exotic forms of flatware, like plates or bowls. So, that being said, I kept the rack from the old dishwasher. Hey Jesse, how's it going? How you doing this evening? I'm actually here cooking my casserole's about to come out of the oven, and I'll show you guys. And I also made hors d'oeuvres, which you can see. What we did is we pan toasted some marble rye in butter and salt, so they were marginally crispy, and then we quartered them, and then I've covered them in a mixture of a nice soft sheep's milk cheese and sprinkled some basil on them, just, you know, for little nibbly tidbits, and they came out really, really good. So I'm happy with that, and now our casserole is streaming at us, so let me show you that real quick, and we'll see if it's done together. And how are you doing this evening, and what are you up to? actually starting to look pretty good. But see how it's starting to toasty up, like right there and right there? But I want it in another minute or two. And I could probably throw, you know what? Let me show you guys a trick. I'm not going to put it in the oven. I'm going to turn off the oven, and I'm going to turn on the broiler. And the broiler is nice. Some people call it a salamander. And the broiler is nice because it'll toast that top up in less than a minute. So, while it broils, I'm going to explain. In this oven, which is a gas oven, the broiler is actually the gas element that heats the oven. But the broiler drawer puts the food in just below it, so the flame is right over the top of the food, and it will toast the top of it real fast. And it's a great way to brown cheese, melt things down on stuff, like toast things. It's awesome. Let's see. So you're having a really rough night, lost a big group of adrenaline and didn't want to... Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's always a pain. And, you know, here's the thing. I don't know what kind of drama you're going through. And I'm not going to claim to understand just from a quick association with you, but I will say this. You know, really good friends, even despite drama, eventually things like that do blow over if they are good friends. And if it's a group of people who you're kind of friends with and, you know, you're a member of, and I've got to go check that because, like I said, this cooks fast. If it doesn't blow over, and it doesn't, yeah, I can put that in there. See, look at that. That's able to go for another minute. If it does not blow over, then maybe it's not meant to be, and maybe they're not your kind of people and not your kind of friends, and that doesn't make it any easier or less hard. But, you know, I mean, if you're that upset about it, obviously they meant a lot to you, and I'm sorry to hear that, and only time will tell. But, you know, in the meantime, the best thing to do is, you know, don't dwell on it. I mean, you can reflect on it, and it's okay to feel sorry for yourself for a while. It's healthy and normal. Just don't dwell on it too long, and don't let yourself feel too bad about it, because there's lots of life to live, and you're gonna be fine even though it doesn't feel like it now. Let me check on you guys and then on this thing, and I'm so sorry. It's been slow all night, and now I've got to run back and forth and keep track of this. Oh yeah, looky. That is exactly what that is supposed to look like. You guys see how the cheese is all toasty and nice on the top of this? It's all brown and crisp and wonderful, and the noodles still have a nice soft consistency, but the cheese is brown and has a crispness to it. That means that is about how you want this. So what I'm going to do is turn off my oven. Make sure it's off. And let that cool a minute before I slice it. And then I'm going to go check on the chat real quick. Oh, I thank you. You know, I appreciate that, but really the truth is, you know, everyone goes through things like that, and I realize that I'm probably one of the older people on Twitch, so I've probably seen it a little bit more than most of you. So, you know, it happens. It's part of life, and the worst thing is, you know, when it's happening to you, it always feels like you're the only one, and sometimes you just need to hear that it happens to everyone. It happens to everyone, and sometimes you feel like the outcast, and, you know, sometimes you are, and it's just all part of it. And again, that's not to dismiss it, and it doesn't make it any less hard, but you're going to be okay. I promise. It's going to be fine. And it's okay to feel sad, but, you know, just gotta stand up, move forward. And in the meantime, if you have to feel sad, it's okay. Let's go and cut into this casserole and see what we see. I didn't put enough cheese in it. But again, you know, I'm trying to be healthy. but I love my cheese. So let's see what it looks like, shall we? This is also the wrong knife for this, but we're not playing around. We're just going to quarter this. Alrighty. I also realize I'm holding this knife like an implement of murder, and I'm sorry for that. But again, it is the wrong knife for this. And I should probably have this on. Here we go. Okay. Well, there might be enough cheese in it after all. Look how the tuna's sticking. So I'm pleased. And I know it's not good presentation, but I'm just going to stick it on the same plate as the hors d'oeuvres. Come on. Oh, come on. All right. All right. Look at that. Excuse me. Okay, guys. Look at here. We have got tuna noodle casserole with not only peas, which are a must, but also the addition of broccoli in this one, which I'm excited to try. And we've got our little hors d'oeuvres. Again, it's pan-toasted rye bread with butter and salt. And the top is a mixture of kind of sheep's milk cheese with a feta consistency. And I've sprinkled it with basil. So what I'm going to do is move this casserole to the side a little bit, because while it's pretty to look at, it's not as pretty as the plated version. And then I'll stick my plate here for you guys to enjoy. And then I'll go check on the chat and see what you guys are up to. Whoa! Excuse me. There you go. Beep that for a minute and I'll come see what you guys are typing. Well, thank you very much. I actually don't feel all that old. I'm 37, but I don't feel old. That said, as far as food, yes, especially if you're feeling bad, you do need to eat. Eating is always necessary, and when you don't feel good, especially when you're sad about something, or me, I've had the flu this week, so I haven't been eating the way I should, and when you don't eat, you don't feel good, you feel worse, and you feel bad. So, of course, sometimes when I'm feeling sorry for myself, I do tend to overeat or eat the wrong things. So the thing to remember is to eat when you should, how much you should, and to eat healthy, and you will feel better because of it. Good food means good health, means you feel better mentally. And I know I look insane doing those gestures with the oven mitts on. So, that said, I'm about done with this cooking stream tonight, and I hate that you've come in just as I was finishing up with it. But I've really enjoyed having all you guys here, and what I do need to do is go eat because I am starving. Well, not starving. I wouldn't starve to death for another 7 days probably if you're talking biologically, but I'm hungry. So what I'm probably going to do is find someone else who's streaming. I'm going to throw you guys over to them. As for you, let me get your nickname. Well, thank you. As for you, Jesse, if you need to chat, come and find me in Discord or something like that a little later. And I know that I know sometimes you just need to run things by people and vent. So if you do, feel free. I'm usually either in Tim's or Noisy's Discord, but sometimes I'm in Aaron and Jess's. And I know that all the Nerd Nation people tend to hang out together. I don't have my own because I don't really need one because I'm not that popular. But thank you for the compliment. I try to have interesting combinations of food because, I mean, if you're going to do a cooking stream, why cook things that people see all the time? Plus, I have a weird palate anyway, so if you need to chat later, DM me. I'm certainly up for that. And in the meantime, I want everyone to have a good evening. And let's go see who is streaming so that I can throw you guys over to them.
Heated! Hey, how you doing? Unfortunately, you've come in at the end of the stream, but let me explain what we've made before I throw you over. I made tuna noodle casserole, but instead of just peas, I added some broccoli to it, because I need to be healthy, and it sounded real good. And then I made these little hors d'oeuvres here, and what they are is I pan-toasted some marble rye with some salt and butter, and then I topped them with this wonderful sheep's milk cheese that has kind of the consistency of feta, and then I sprinkled it with some basil because it sounded good, and they're so good. Let me show you the cheese I used so you can find it if you want it. It's this stuff right here. And yeah, it's going to be tasty. And to be honest with you guys, I'm starving and I'm really looking forward to going and eating it. So let's throw you over to somebody. I'm thinking Man Pants Live is still streaming and has like 1 billion people in there, so we might as well make it 1,000,000,005, huh? So let me throw you over to him, and again, thank you guys so much for coming and seeing me. I really appreciate it. I am going to let my hair down, and I'm going to go eat. Take care. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys soon. Bye. Let me make sure he is streaming. Thanks again, guys. Take care. Oh, did I not hit the button?